Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Serious Cinema from Serious Men. I'm your host Gabriel Bradham, and with me today is the Podfather of crime. It's Tucker Sonnet. And Tucker, I call you the Podfather because today we are going to decide what are the very best crime films of the 1990s. But before we do that, Tucker, there's a lot going on in your life. You've got a team in the World Series, a team in the NFL, basketball, everything. But let's not talk about that because I know sports can be a brain drain. Just tell me, how are you? How is Tucker Senate on this Sunday night that we're recording?
Been better, Gabe.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
better. You know,
yeah.
been
Is that the sports?
it's the sports. I've had a little bit of a cold this week, so I'm combating that. And it's just it's been a tough my general emotional and mental well-being hinges on the successes of my sports teams, which is probably
Hmm.
not healthy.
No, but I'm
But
in the same boat, so I do understand it.
Um, so I'm not great. I Friday was really traumatic. Uh,
Yes, yes. I believe the text you sent me was, I feel like I've lost a family member.
yeah, yeah. I've been sending this video around a lot, but the scene where Chrissy is talking about his arc in The
Hmm.
Sopranos, and it's like, you ever feel like nothing good was ever gonna happen to you?
Yep,
And
yep.
and then Polly responds with, yeah, and nothing ever did. Like that's that's about where I'm at.
I also received that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So that one's been getting fired around a lot. My family group chat was not super pumped to see that one, but um yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Hey, it's okay. Well, Tucker, in the state of your mental unwellness, they always say like pick up a new hobby. Is there like an extreme hobby that you've always considered doing? Maybe not even something extreme, but just a hobby that you've always considered that you've never gotten into. Tucker the knitter, Tucker the baker,
I've
Tucker the
always
butcher, Tucker the candlestick maker.
I like the idea of surfing,
Okay,
and I'm from a place where it's really accessible and really popular, and I have lots of friends who do it, and I just never have committed to learning how to do it,
sure.
which is
Hear me out. Would surfing make you too handsome? Like when someone is too handsome and they're just like unapproachable. Would adding surf like, because you're great at basketball, you're
yeah,
charming, you're funny, you're smart. Would adding surfer, does that like then it's just, well, it's like I can't talk to him. Like I'm not cool enough for him.
it would help, I think, in that department, but you know,
Okay, I think for me, I've always considered free form rock climbing, just no ropes, no nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I would absolutely die. Um I don't really, as I get older, I realize I don't really have hobbies outside of sports, and I feel like sports can't really count as a hobby. Like, I love movies, but I wouldn't say movies is a hobby. So I don't know. You ever feel like you're just floating around aimlessly, Tucker? Because I think that's where both of us are on this Sunday night. You should consider surfing, and you should also consider the fact that Blade has been canceled. Uh, it ripped off the release schedule indefinitely. Tucker, after six writers and four directors, they couldn't crack the script. And now Mahershala Ali is in the new Jurassic World, and it's probably going to make a dyna billion dollars because you've got old people who were there in '93, you have people who saw it when they were a kid, and then you have me who is in love with dinosaurs, and everyone like me who's like, actually, the Ankylosaurus is the most powerful dinosaur. He could turn into a bowling ball and smash you, would we? So all of us, we're gonna make sure that Jurassic World Rebirth makes a bunch of money, and they're gonna make a bunch of sequels, and Mahershala is never going to be Blade. Does this surprise you at all?
I mean, given if you told me this like 2 years ago when this was happening, even 3 years ago when we got like the Eternals post-credit scene with his voice, I was like, okay, this is cool. This is gonna happen. We're gonna get Kit Harington and Mahershala Ali in a gritty Blade movie. Like, okay. Everything after that moment, though, indicated that this would be the final outcome. And I think what's gonna happen is I think the Blade movie's not gonna happen. They're gonna take some of the script aspects and make a Midnight Suns movie
Okay.
and have it be focused around Blade. And whether that's Mahershala Ali or not, I have no idea. But it sounds like the Midnight Suns script is getting some, what am I trying to say?
Traction.
Traction.
Sure.
Great
Sure.
word.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
that's my guess. And I think that honestly, I would have loved to have another Blade movie, but I think a Midnight Suns movie could be really cool. Especially, I mean, if you can get the Doctor Strange side of
Hmm.
that um into the mix,
Yeah.
that would be cool. Um, I think, a Ghost Rider would be pretty dope.
I agree. Maybe a man, we already got Werewolf by Night, so he ties into there well. They introduce
Yeah.
man things. So yeah, you're right. There's some seeds there. Tucker, you mentioned Ghost Rider, and the name that's kind of been bandied around for that project is Ryan Gosling, Ryan Gosling, Ryan Gosling. And he might have time for it now because his next film has finished shooting. It is called Project Hail Mary. Tucker, you are a fan of the film The Martian, as am I, and it is by a book from a man named Andy Weir, and he has this book called Project Hail Mary, and I have not read it. I've been meaning to, and it is essentially about someone who wakes up in space with amnesia and slowly puts together they are the sole survivor of a last ditch effort to save humanity. Essentially, a Project Hail Mary. It is directed by Christopher Lord and Phil Miller, their first thing directing since 22 Jump Street. Because for those who remember, there was the whole Solo fiasco where they shot three-quarters of Solo. Then apparently Lucasfilm found out that they were changing the script and make it into a comedy. And George Lucas said, "Oh, I don't think so." So brought in Ron Howard to finish it. The whole project was kind of a mess. So the last thing they did was 22 Jump Street. It stars Ryan Gosling and Sandra Hüller. Coming out March 20th, 2026. Is that a project you're intrigued in at all? I know you've got Goss stock and you like the
The,
Hulster.
so I know I didn't read the book, but I had to, it was a really long time ago. We had like a sci-fi book project in high school where you had to like research a sci-fi book and do, or you were supposed to read it, but like do a presentation. And I did this one, and I read like a third of the book, and then ran out of time and just used the internet
Sure.
to
Is where's the statute of limitations on that? Like, did you just confess to something that's gonna cause your high school degree to be rescinded? Or did you just screw
no,
yourself, bud?
no, I didn't. I'm gonna be okay. But anyway, it's it's a really cool plot. Um, it involves some aliens that I'm
Hmm.
not sure how they're gonna execute on screen.
Okay.
Because it's just like they're pretty integral to the plot. So I don't I just it'll be really interesting to see what kind of CGI they work with for that. And it's a cool book for sure. I just
Okay.
it's gonna my I think my hesitation about being excited is it's gonna require a lot of money to make it look like it should. And Andy Weir is a great writer, but his source material is dense.
Hmm.
And my hope is they take some of the things that Ridley Scott took from adapting The Martian, which it the Martian as a book is it's like much more into the science than the
Hmm.
movie is. and the movie kind of it still includes a lot of the science, but it dumbs it down just enough so that like your casual viewer, for the most part, is pretty entertained by that movie.
Yeah.
So I think that there will be a juggling act in terms of how they pull that off. But it's a pretty freaking wild book. And it's also there's there's um there's dueling there's dueling stories going on at
Okay.
once.
Well,
So that'll be interesting to juggle.
the last thing on this might raise your excitement a little bit. Cinematographer for it, Greg Fraser. Yeah, and that's your guy. Also, it is the same person adapting The Martian. So Drew Goddard did the screenplay for The Martian. He's doing the screenplay for this. So we'll have to see. I would
But
say I'm
no,
relatively excited.
I'm pretty confident that it will be a good movie. I just think that given the source material and the talent behind this,
Mhm.
I just don't I think it could be really good. Like
Yeah,
I just don't want to commit to it because it is the source material is out there in terms of its um what am I trying to say? I'm having trouble with words today. Just
that's okay.
it's a tricky thing to adapt. Like I'm surprised that they agreed to do a big budget adaptation of this, but I think it could be really cool.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to land the plane, although Phil Lord and Chris Miller with Gosling, Hooler, Fraser, Goddard, maybe they're gonna pull a Sully Sullenberger and get it right in the water. Or maybe it'll be Denzel in flight. We're going upside down for a little, but eventually things will smooth out. We'll have to see. Tucker, today, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we're talking about crime movies. And a couple different reasons I'm doing this. One of them being Pulp Fiction turning 30 years old, and just how much that movie has meant to me, and I know to you as well. And a couple factors. But I also just think we don't make crime movies anymore. And for a while in the 1990's, the crime movie was the biggest thing. There was nothing bigger than the crime movie. And I have a theory on why that is. But before I share it, I'd like to know your thoughts, Tucker. Why do you think there was such a boom of crime movies in the 90's?
I think I think part of it is because it was an era that had really good crime actors.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the I mean, just looking at these movies, a lot of these star people who were really good in crime movies in their kind of coming up phases of their careers. Like there's a lot of De Niro here. It's a fair amount of Pacino here. There's you got who am I missing? I mean Stallone. He's been in some cop and robber and things such as
Mm-hmm.
that.
Harvey Keitel like ran the decade.
Oh yeah, Harvey Keitel, the spaceman.
Yeah, yeah. Eh,
So I mean it was kind of like, hmm, we put this guy in a crime movie and it usually goes well.
mhm.
So maybe we do that. I also just think, I mean, a lot of these were period pieces, and I guess like if you think about it, the 90's are not that far removed from the success of like The Godfather
Yeah.
and some of the crime classic. It's an iconic genre that just kind of carried over from decade to decade, and then I think we kind of collectively decided that a lot of the stories had already been told
Mhm.
for a while, and I kind of I think it's coming back a little bit. I also think um kind of the rise of prestige TV, especially like your Sopranos and your The Wire,
Mhm.
definitely contributed to less crime movies or fewer crime movies because those stories were getting told in much more depth by HBO and FX.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big thing for me, and this is my personal theory, in 1983, Brian De Palma released Scarface, and it is the crime epic. Like, it is this masterpiece on how You come looking for good things and you become embroiled in the darkness and you leave a monster. And it didn't work well. People didn't like it until 1989. West Coast rap is huge, and Tucker, you are the king of the West Coast. I don't want to cut it on your corner and like talk about West Coast rap because I know that's all you. But Scarface becomes essentially this biography for a lot of people, and so I think the late success of Scarface and how crime became cool in the 90s. And there's this quote from a film producer, and I don't remember which one, so I don't want to like misattribute it, but they're talking to him about, you guys make these movies about cocaine and guns and sex and cars. And he goes, we're not selling cocaine. We're not selling women. We're not selling guns. We're not selling cars. We sell cool. And that's what the crime films of the 1990s were. They were cool. There's a reason the most famous shot of Reservoir Dogs, the one that Tarantino uses as the logo for his production company, is everyone as part of the heist walking in the suits with the slow motion and the music, and you're like, those are the coolest motherfuckers to ever live. And so I think this idea of selling cool to this generation, selling crime, and whether or not that's right or wrong is a completely different conversation, but this idea of we sell cool, I think is so fascinating. And maybe it's the rise of parents going, I don't want my kids to see this. I agree with you. I think prestige TV had a huge part in, it just stopped being a movie medium. It really switched over to television. And I'm not sure if they're coming back. I thought with Uncut Gems and the success of Uncut Gems that we would see a massive boom in crime movies because I thought Uncut Gems was incredible. Honora, kind of a crime movie, right? Like I wouldn't say it's fully there. It's like a crime, a rom, a dramedy. Um, but we'll have to see what happens to the genre. But I still think nothing will be able to beat the 90s. Also, Tucker, some of these I had to play fast and loose with the genre designation. So, for example, I have The Godfather Part 3, and some people might say that's more a familial drama. Did my best. And Tucker, if there's any of these that you think we should just cut, get rid of, we can. Because, for example, I don't have Seven on here. I don't think Seven is a crime movie. I would say Seven is a detective movie, but I'd be glad to add it if you think we should add it. What's your thought here?
I think no, I think you're right. Well,
Look, I
I
made
don't
this
know.
at 6
I
a.m. because I woke up and I was like, I'm not texting Tucker about this at 4 in the morning for him. So
let's roll with what we got for now because we got a lot here to get
okay.
through.
Well, there's one more that I'm curious about whether or not you would add, and I know that contradicts what we just said, but is Unforgiven a crime movie? I was
No.
trying to decide. Okay, I didn't think so. I think it was more Western than a crime movie. I was like agonizing over it, and then I went, I'm going back to bed. I cannot decide this on myself. So if you don't see Seven or Unforgiven here, you may think those are crime movies. We have decided, gavel, gavel, not crime movies. Tucker, I have these in chronological order. So let's start with 1990s, The Godfather Part 3. And the way we're doing this is keep, maybe get rid of it. And Tucker, how many should we keep at the end of this?
Let's keep what do we got? How many do we have here?
I believe we have 18, if I counted correctly.
Okay.
Two.
I say we keep six. So a
Okay,
third, right?
sure. 14, 16, 18. Okay, we have 26 actually.
Oh,
So you want to
okay.
keep eight?
Let's keep eight. Yeah.
Okay. So Tucker, we will put green on what we're keeping, yellow in the maybes, and the reds in the get rid of it. Starting with The Godfather Part 3. My initial reaction here, Tucker, is we should get rid of it. And I'll say why. The Godfather Part 3 just kind of pales in comparison to 1 and 2. I think part of that is the source material. It's not based on a Mario Puzo book. So you don't have that screenplay work by Puzo. And I think the other part of it is it's really meandering. It takes its time. The plot is about like the Catholic Church is pulling scams on the Corleone family because they need money. And that's just not as fun as Michael Corleone getting vengeance for someone shooting up his house in Lake Tahoe. So that's my gut reaction. What do you say to that?
I think I think it's a vastly inferior movie to the other two. I think it's just not that great of a movie overall. I think Pacino's performance is good. It's hurt by a lot of the supporting performances, particularly Sofia Coppola, who was kind of the nepo role here, and I get it. Like, you know, he wanted to put his daughter in the movie. It was ambitious. It was he wanted to take a risk, and it was a risk that did not work in any way, shape, or form.
Nope.
Uh, I think Andy Garcia is also really solid in this movie, and I think his character arc is kind of the only plot success that this
Mhm.
movie has because it is really interesting about like a bastard child coming back and wanting to be a part of the family that he's not really welcome in. I do think the weird incest relationship
Yeah,
he
it's
had
really strange. It's strange
really
as hell.
really strange. But I think that's an interesting development that this movie kind of tackles. And then I think the idea of Michael not really having a true heir in terms of like his son being the musician and just like grappling with that is also interesting because it's the opposite of what his father had to go through
Mhm.
when his father was like his father really could only go wrong one way, which was if he gave Fredo the chair, which he did not.
Yeah.
So um yeah, I mean it's just not a great movie. So the next one we don't even need to talk about because it's Keeper.
Yeah.
Um, that would be Goodfellas. So
Hmm. That's
it's
just Marty. It was just like, yeah, I'm making the greatest movie of all time. Um, and it rocks. Tucker shouldn't have lost to Dancing with Wolves. I know we probably like Dancing with Wolves, Dances with Wolves, pardon me, more than other people would. So just what is
Gabe,
your thought?
but I do like Dancing with Wolves.
I believe you would. You go to Griffith Park and you're just like doing like cranes and you're finding a dog and swinging it around.
Um, they're both very different movies. I think Goodfellas, from a purely objective standpoint, probably should have won.
Okay.
I just have such an appreciation for what Costner did with Dances with Wolves and just like, going out, putting a lot of the movie in indigenous languages,
Hmm.
shooting a lot of the movie kind of out in the old west, which is awesome. And it's just like it's such a beautiful movie visually.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I'm not taking, I mean, Goodfellas has some of the best like tight quarters cinematography of all time, and I'm not taking away from that. I'm a sucker for a sweeping landscape, as
Yeah.
you know.
I do. I think I should have split director and picture, and I wouldn't have been too upset whichever way it would have gone. Maybe you give Scorsese director and you give Wolves picture because then it's like, Costner, this is his first movie. Maybe he shouldn't beat Scorsese. I don't know, but I think that might have been the best solution. Is Departed Scorsese's best movie? No, but it's the best movie of 2006, and that movie rocks so hard. It's like one of the best crime movies of the 2000s. But yes, Tucker, I agree with you. Goodfellas, Auto in, Point Break. We talked about surfing. You are in many ways Johnny Utah. What are your thoughts on Point Break? Is it one of the eight that we should keep?
Um,
Is it a maybe? Do we yellow this one?
I Point Break's interesting because it's not a great movie,
No, it isn't. It is. You're
but
right.
it's
It isn't.
but it's kind of awesome.
The vibes are impeccable. It's
It's a
Swayze and
it's like
Keanu as surfing heisters.
an incredible vibes movie, an incredible starring duo
Yes.
that really they both don't do a lot in terms of like, wow, these guys are just having the performance of their lives. But you can't you're compelled by them the entire time. So I'm gonna go no for now, but I will shout out this movie for kind of taking a really interesting spin on the genre and having a lot of fun with it. And I also think, I mean, it's a very fun adventure crime movie.
Yeah. And it's Johnny Utah and Bodie. Tucker, there was a 2015 remake of Point Break. Do you
Horrible,
remember
horrible.
either of the two people who played the Keanu and the Swayze role?
No,
It was Edgar Ramirez as Swayze
right.
and Luke Brace. I don't even know who this is.
Luke Brace, he's like in the Liam Hemsworth. Uh,
Or Luke Bracey, I
yeah,
guess.
he's like the Hemsworth that's not a Hemsworth.
Oh, okay. Well, he should have
He wasn't
Braceyed
Elvis
himself.
though.
Well, yes, because that was a great movie where everyone lived up to their potential. Austin Butler did great, but like
He's also he's the sergeant in Hacksaw Ridge that's kind of
no,
a dick to Andrew Garfield. And
that I
then
mean that is Mel Gibson's best movie. I mean,
yeah, it's a good movie.
it's not as good as Passion of the Christ. No, I'm just kidding. So Tucker, what are we thinking? Yellowing Point Break, or is it a red? Is it just are we scrapping it?
I think it's a red. I think we
Okay.
got a lot of good stuff here.
Okay, so I think we should only choose one Tarantino. That's kind of my gut feeling because I think otherwise 3/8 of the list is going to be Tarantino. But
True.
if you let me put at least two of them on, I'll be happy. 1992's Reservoir Dogs. This has to be a green, right? This is a green.
Kind of like the other two Tarantino movies more though.
I'm not opposed to doing Pulp and Jackie because Jackie Brown is incredible. Okay, so here's the thing: Pulp is an auto green. We know that.
Yes. I
So
think I think the I like the personally I like the other two better. I think Reservoir Dogs is probably a superior movie to Jackie Brown, but I think Jackie Brown, oh, that's really tough.
there's some really good shit in Jackie Brown. There's the three different perspectives on the dressing room. So it's like, okay, here's what Robert Forster see happen.
Yeah, no,
Here's what De
We're going
Niro.
Jackie Brown.
Okay,
We're not gonna take Reservoir Dogs. I think Reservoir Dogs is great. I just think
it's incredible.
it's not the most rewatchable Tarantino movie,
Sure,
and I think it's he yeah, I mean it's really it's what this was his first movie, right?
it was. It
So
was. I mean,
it's
he did
like
a couple amateur movies that like
yeah,
you can't find
but
anywhere, but
like
this was his first.
he's finding his way in Reservoir Dogs. It's not perfect yet, and I think that's I mean, I'm not shaming him for that, but I just think as he continued to work, he ironed some things out that are much more there's things are a little more fleshed out in his other movies from this decade. So we're
Yes,
gonna
and I will say if you don't like overacting, you will hate Harvey Keitel in this movie. There's a scene
yes.
where he's holding Tim Roth's hand. He's like, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Say it." And he's like singing, and you're like, Keitel, this is a strong energy. Tim Roth in the movie is from Milwaukee. Shout out, you got to represent. And he's Mr. Orange, my favorite color. That's all I'm saying. There's the whole monologue about the Silver Surfer, and I'm like, wow. And then Tarantino just ripped it out of his own movie and put it into Crimson Tide and made Denzel go like everyone knows the Mobius Silver Surfer is a. And you're just like, whoa, okay, got it, Quentin. Okay, so Reservoir Dogs is a red. Basic Instinct, maybe the sexiest movie ever. Just saying. Michael Douglas is a detective. Sharon Stone is a crime novelist whose boyfriend has been murdered exactly as the murder is depicted in her unreleased book that's about to come out. And a cat and mouse game ensues. Sharon Stone uncrosses her legs. Some important things. Is this a yellow?
This is a yellow because like in terms of the genre's like variety, I feel like there's nothing like this on the
Mm-hmm.
list. So let's keep it as a yellow for now.
Is is it
It's
also just one of the hottest movies of all time?
Yeah, I mean
Like,
Sharon Stone is a 90s goddess who's like at the height of her power in
eh,
this movie. So and
yeah,
it's I mean, Michael Douglas is just a fucking movie star.
and the two
So
of them have so much chemistry. And the
yeah,
poster where she's like behind him and like scratching his back, and you're just like, whoa, I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me. Definitely saw that movie way too early. That movie used to be on AMC, and there was very little cut out of it. There was some blurring and some strategic repositioning of the camera, but I was like, hello, hello, Mrs. Sharon Stone.
I have a feeling we're gonna have a difference of opinion on this next one.
Okay, well, what is the next one, Tucker?
Deep Cover.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne, fucking cooking as an undercover agent.
I think this is an auto green.
Oh, auto green. I was thinking yellow.
This movie is like it's
It's
like
so 90s. It is the most 90s movie ever.
it's the apocalypse now of crime movies because it's like a guy who's just diving deeper and deeper into the seedy underbelly of Los Angeles, and it's so fucking good. And
And Jeff Goldblum is just in it. And he's like, "Hi, yes, it's me, Jeff
yeah,
Goldblum.
it's a great
Meow."
it's we get coked up Goldblum in this
She's
one.
so coked up, and more than a real life.
Yeah,
The
it's really good stuff happens here. And it's like Lawrence Fishburne reciting poems as he murders people and slangs crack.
Yeah, yeah, and he's like from Cincinnati, and so it's like you get that fish out of water feeling. He's a bear
Yeah.
cat in Los Angeles. I do still think we should yellow it because I think this is gonna get tricky with 8 of them, or
Okay.
we could increase it to 10 and make it a green. How are you feeling?
Let's yellow it. I'm this is gonna be a yes for me at the end, but we'll
Okay,
yellow it for now.
okay. True Romance, 1993.
Green,
Tony Scott.
green,
Yeah. Yeah.
green,
I mean, yeah.
green.
What is your favorite scene from True Romance, Tucker?
Okay, it hasn't aged well.
Is it the walk-in Hopper monologue? Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's
probably
really good.
in terms of like use of obscene language and just one-on-one acting, it's one of the best scenes ever written.
Yes. And the funny thing is, people say Tarantino ghost directed this movie. Then people are saying, well, that's not super true. He helped Tony Scott, but it was like a mentor mentee relationship, and that's why they work together so often. We don't really have the truth behind that. This is just the most Tarantino written movie like ever. You can just feel it. Val Kilmer playing Elvis as an imaginary friend. That rocks. That rocks really hard. Gary Oldman as Drexel Spivey, a drug dealer
That's
who's like,
yeah.
and he's got a he's does he have a Jamaican accent, or am I like, did I remember that wrong?
It's an accent. I don't know
Okay.
what it is, but
Uh,
it's an accent. It's there's a little Jamaica in there. There's there's stuff going on with that
uh,
accent. And it's like people clown like your Teddy KGB John Malkovich role.
I would never personally.
This is this is like of an in terms of an actor going all out on just voice and look. This is top three all time.
Yes. Big Jim
It's
Gandolfini is so sweaty in this
oh yeah,
movie. He just looks like the heater is on him full blast.
he
And
is
then my
really
guy
good.
Brad Pitt playing Lloyd, just sitting there on the couch and like, Lloyd, where's the weed? I don't know.
This
Lloyd, did you call the cops?
Brad's got some great. Brad has like a section of movies that's just where he just plays kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
This
Thelma and Louise, which maybe
yeah,
should Thelma and Louise be on this list? Is that an oversight on my part?
it could be. Burn
Well, let's not
After
make our
Reading.
jobs any more difficult. Hey,
Burn
Thelma
After
and
Reading.
Louise, that's a yellow.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. True Romance. Are we good with green?
I think that's got to be a green. It's one of the best movies from one of the best years in movies. Pulp Fiction, we already said, is a green. Jack Rabbit Slims, Travolta, Sam Jackson, Uma Thurman, Ving Rhames, and then Harvey Keitel, Christopher Walken going, I put this watch Up my ass. For your father. This watch that I give you was in my butthole. And as a kid, I was like, that's fabulous screenwriting. And as an adult, I'm like, you're definitely want to get that cleaned. You're going to get some sort of disease.
Okay, another one that Gabe, I feel like we're gonna butt heads here.
Hold on, what do we got next? The Usual Suspects. I think this is a green. I think
Okay, okay.
I think it is a fantastic screenplay by Chris McQuarrie. Kevin Spacey gives not the best performance of his career because I still think that's Seven, one of the best, and the physical acting. I'm very grateful that I never had this movie ruined for me. Spoiler alert if you've never seen The Usual
I
Suspects. It's
no
got one
no
of the
ever. This is a movie that when you're a dad and your kid is like, I want to watch a crime movie. And yeah, you're gonna show it to them when they're way too young, but you have to so they can experience this for the very first time
absolutely
because
does.
you
Sorry, go
you
ahead.
you have to watch this movie without it being spoiled.
Yes, it does. In my opinion, it drags slightly in the middle. There's a couple things from like, okay, you could cut this out, but it's okay because it more than makes up for it by the end. Benicio del Toro is great in this movie.
When
Gabriel Byrne, great. It's just a great movie.
when I disappear and Gabe realizes that I've been manipulating him into I don't know what would I be using you for on this podcast? Like
My
just
body.
no,
Oh,
like
okay.
fame and success, and I disappear and turn out to be like I take my mask off and I'm Bill Simmons, and
Hmm.
I've just been workshopping things here for a
That
couple
feels
years.
right. That feels right.
That's Gabe is gonna be Chaz
Hmm.
Palmentier
Chaz Palminteri.
Palmentieri. I got there eventually, but
You did. You got it. You're good.
that's gonna be Gabe after 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 I take the mask off
All
and
that matters to me is I
gonna
get to do
drop
the
the top.
I have had one thing I've always wanted to do in any movie I ever get to be in. I want to stand out there after being betrayed by a criminal, and I want to look up at the sky and go, "Bastard!" It's the one thing I want to do. So as long as you let me do that, that's it. I'm good. I think Usual Suspects. I think it's a green. So we have 4 out of 8. Heat Tucker. This is a green. It's the greenest green. It is greener than what Snoop Dogg is smoking on the daily. The HEAT, I believe it would be approved by the DOGG, but more importantly, it's approved by the GABE. It's heat.
Uh, yes, Heat is an auto green. Um, Probably the best heist movie of all time.
Yes, this is correct.
I would say like Oceans is the only thing that is in the same ballpark in terms
Hmm.
of pure heist movie.
Hmm.
Um, just and that's a movie that's just carried by having an awesome cast and
Yes.
Steven Soderbergh having so much fun with them.
Hmm.
But Heat is just it's a master class. Um,
Yes. Tucker, I have a question. Why did I ever get mixed up with that crazy bitch?
it's
You
good.
you got to do it, buddy.
I can't do it as good as
Because
you.
she's got a great ass,
Yes.
and you got your head all the way up it. Yeah, Pacino. The best part is his improv. There's the whole scene where he's like, "When I get to Phoenix, she'll be rising. She's gonna leave a note right on the door." And the person he did that scene with was like, "That's not in the script." And the reason you only see Pacino's face in that take and not the other guys is because the guy was like, "I was looking at Michael Mann, going, are you gonna cut? Like, what's happening?" And it's because Pacino said, "Oh yeah, my character was doing coke the entire time. He had a secret coke addiction. I never told anyone." I can't believe he snuck that past Michael Mann, who's like the ultimate control freak.
Yep. Yep.
The music in this is great. Kilmer, great. De Niro, great. And now all the Heat ripoffs I'm crazy for. My sister and I, when we went to see Venom: The Last Dance, the trailer for Art or for Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, started playing, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be there opening day. I don't care. I know that Den of Thieves is just a Heat ripoff. I know the town is just a Heat ripoff. I get down every single time. Heat, incredible. Auto Green. Thank you. I rest my case. Strange Days. Tucker, have you ever seen Strange Days?
I
Do
have
you?
it.
Okay. So, Strange Days, 1995. This is a Ray Fiennes science fiction crime movie where you can sell people's recorded memories and experiences so that
This
sickos, right? So
this sounds like another instance of James Cameron pulling he because he wrote. I'm looking. He wrote the screenplay for this. This
yes,
he pulled some ideas from this and
yes.
stuck them into Avatar.
So you've got the freaks, right? Who like, oh, I always wanted this guy's wife, so give me all the memories of him and her boning. And that's what like a lot of people are using it for. People want to kill someone. Ray Fiennes, however, gets dragged into a completely different world. This is a heavy movie. There's some heavy shit in this movie. But you've got a great Angela Bassett performance. You've got a great Juliette Lewis, Tom Sizemore, Vincent D'Onofrio. Um, some people don't like it because it, as I mentioned, graphically depicts certain things. I think it's good, but I think it's a red. One of the great things as we go on with this, because of the success of Heat and Pulp Fiction and everything like that, there's going to be a bunch of movies on the back half of this list that I think a lot of the audience is going to have no clue what it's about, and that's okay. Gives me a space to recommend. Ray Fiennes, great in this movie. He's like got the long hair. This is the craziest his eyes have ever looked. It's a great Catherine Bigelow movie, and it's a great screenplay by James Cameron. So I think it's a red, but I do think people should check it out, particularly you, Tucker. I think you will get down with it because it's like essentially Total Recall. 1995's Casino. Is it a yellow? I don't know.
I honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Casino, and I'm on record as saying that in the past.
Mhm.
I think it's the weakest of Scorsese's mob trilogy or whatever they
Sure.
call it. I think it's a great movie over like from a purely objective standpoint. I don't there's just so many movies I like better on this list. And I just yeah, it's a red for me personally. But
Okay.
that's not, I think it's some of De Niro's best work as an
Mhm.
actor. I think Pesci's is excellent. They're just both so much better in Goodfellas that it kind of like this movie gets put in that movie's shadow,
Yeah.
which sucks because it is a good movie, and I just wish they were not so closely connected by decade and director. And like I think if this movie were directed by another person, no, it wouldn't be as good, but I think it would be we'd look on it differently.
Sure. That's completely fair. I think Sharon Stone, she isn't as good as she is in Basic Instinct, but she's fantastic.
Yes.
James Woods, known for voicing Hades and Once Upon a Time in America and stuff like that. He's this like slime ball ex pimp boyfriend named Lester in this movie. And first off, he looks like his name would be Lester, and he is just like the most deplorable guy in the world. This is not Scorsese's best movie, but it has the very best shot of Scorsese's entire career. And I'm just talking one thing, not like the Copacabana. De Niro smoking the cigarette as it pushes in, he's in the casino, and then you start hearing oh shoot, what's the song? House of the Rising Sun by the Animals starts playing. And so you get the organ as De Niro smoking the cigarette. Perfection. Also, you've got the shot of De Niro's sunglasses as Pesci's car is driving through the desert. I will also say, I'm pretty sure the Weeknd's Blinding Lights music video just like stole everything from Casino because I just realized they replicate the cigarette shot, they replicate the sunglasses. It's a lot. This is also a movie he drops "Sunshine of Your Love" by Cream over and over
No,
because
no,
that's
that's isn't that Goodfellas?
no. He does that in Casino as well.
Okay.
He drops that needle all the time. That is like one of his
I thought the
favorites.
shot with the cigarette at the bar is Goodfellas
No,
when
no,
he's whacking
yes,
people.
that's Goodfellas. There's a scene in Casino right at the beginning where De Niro is
Okay.
looking over after explaining how the casino works.
Okay, 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 okay.
And then as you see cars drive up, you start getting the dum 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 dum
I
dum
I
dum dum
I,
dum, and
I know what
it's
you're talking
I'm
about.
just like
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
House of the Rising Sun. Tucker, next is Fargo. Is that a green? That a
Yeah.
Minnesota green. Hey there, pal. I brought you a casserole because the Vikings lost. I'm feeling bad about your Vikes.
It's it's the pinnacle of quirky filmmaking.
It's quirktastic. It's quirked up to the max.
Yes. And it's the perfect dark crime, dark humor movie on
Uh,
here, I
yeah,
think. Besides me, there's a couple Coen brothers on here that are tricky. Um,
there's a couple left where I'm like, this is gonna be difficult. Fargo is great. Tucker, are you one of the people who think the television show Fargo is better than the movie? Because that is it's a genuine take that people feel pretty strong about.
I think they're so different. I can't make that decision. And I also think there are seasons of the show that are in quality close to the movie.
Okay,
Like I think the first season is is close, just in terms of the acting, the story, and the story is kind of similar to the movie in the first season. Like dead wife, scam stuff, just like there's assassins being hired, etc. So there is stuff that's similar. I think that's tough. I think the movie's better overall,
okay,
but I do think the show is very, very good and almost a little bit overlooked at times.
yeah, it is. Um, I will say Juno Temple's Minnesota accent in the most recent season of Fargo is way less annoying than the accent she does in Venom. In Venom, she does this like
I
non-regional
thought
accent.
Her Minnesota accent in the latest season was fantastic.
Well, nothing about Minnesota is fantastic. First off, let's just make that abundantly clear. Okay. The Vikes lost to the Rams, and I was praying on their downfall. And also shout out the Commanders. Thank you for that, Jaden Daniels. I love him. I was screaming that Maryland miracle. Um, but she does this voice in Venom where she's like, the symbiotes cannot be allowed to get out. That would not be good. And it's like no one from the US talks like that. Like I would have really preferred she was like, "Oh, hey there. Okay, hey there, Venom. Hey, bud. Hey, okay, I'm gonna need you to get into the containment unit now, okay, buddy, and take that goopy symbiote off. None of the goop. Don't be tracking that into the house now, okay?" I think that would have been so much better, and way less just like, okay, you are a British lady who is obviously in over her head. I agree with you. Fargo is incredible. Tucker, have you ever heard of Absolute Power, the Clint Eastwood 1997 film?
I've seen Absolute Power, and I can confidently tell you it is not a green.
It is a red, but it is a hard Gabe recommendation. It
It's
is.
it's the it is one of the Gabriel Bradham movies of all time.
Yes. Let me just paint a word picture. Clint Eastwood is a master thief, and he breaks into a rich guy's house. There's a one-way mirror, and in it he sees the President of the United States, played by Gene Hackman, having an affair with the lady's wife. Then the lady's wife, she's maybe not so into it. Maybe she doesn't want to go all the way, and Gene Hackman stabs her, and then she fights back, and then the Secret Service breaks in and kills the lady. So Clint Eastwood wants to try and get information out to you. He's like, I'm a master thief, but I don't want the president of the United States to be a murderer and like a bad person. But how is he going to say what happened without incriminating himself for breaking into someone's house? Then you have Ed Harris as Detective Seth Rank. Okay. And it is the most Ed Harris role of all time. Ed Harris is like, I'm going to get to the truth about what happened to this. It just rocks. It rocks so hard. Is it a red? Absolutely, it is. Should you watch this with your father or like while you're folding laundry? You absolutely should. This needs to be like how Presumed Innocent came back and was a prestige show. Tucker, tell me Absolute Power Prestige would not be incredible.
Yeah, we that could be a good TV show.
You get John Hamm as the Gene Hackman president, Bernthal as the master thief, obviously, of course, and then who could be the detective? Mm, I don't know, Tucker. Who should be our Ed Harris, our detective?
I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Nicholas Holt, maybe. I don't
Maybe
know.
do
The
that.
HBO. I'll get a package ready and I'll give you a phone call. Absolute Power really does rock, and everyone should watch it. Jackie Brown, Tucker. We said this is a green. Yeah, I would really like to see De Niro and Tarantino work together again.
I think it's a green.
I think it's really, really fantastic. Okay. Two that Tucker has already read here that I do agree. Tucker, explain why you've read Last Man Standing and Donnie Brasco.
Last Man Standing is a pretty not great movie redeemed by an incredible gunfight at the
Yeah.
end.
Yes.
It,
Yes.
Bruce Willis is he's like a hitman who's on the run and ends up in kind of a dinky old west town, but it's like the old west is it's too new, like he's
It's prohibition
yes, it's
1920s.
prohibition, and it's like okay, I see what we're doing, but it doesn't it's confusing when he whips out the Tommy gun and it's like, all right, why does he have a Tommy gun in the old west? I know there were still old west towns. It's just it tickles my brain the wrong way. But
Okay.
man, he wield those akimbo pistols better than anybody in any movie ever.
It is
Um,
strangely an adaptation of Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo, and you watch it and you're like, hmm. I never thought about turning a Kurosawa samurai movie into a Bruce Willis hitman gangster movie. Um, but it's kind of cool. I will agree with you. The ending gun scene is incredible. There is like if you like the good, bad, and the ugly, where it's like someone playing both sides until he and turning them against each other until it maximizes when he gets to win. I think that's pretty good, but ultimately I agree with you. It's a red. What about the other one, Tucker?
Donnie Brasco is an a perfectly fine crime movie. It's just not it's there's something lacking from it. Like, yes, the performance you get your Al Pacino, you get your Johnny Depp, but it just falls a little bit flat for me. Um, I think because it's not top Pacino, like
Mhm.
it's just it's not the very best that we've seen from him, so you're left a little bit disappointed. I do like the true story nature of it.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think it's definitely an anxiety inducing movie given that that Johnny Depp is in deep. It's kind
Yes.
of it's a predecessor to The Departed in a lot of ways, but it's not quite there.
This might be sacrilege. I think of the story it's trying to tell, Deep Cover is the better version of like the person who's undercover and they are kind of being subsumed by their undercover identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. I know that's like probably sacrilege to say. I know people love Donnie Brasco. I'd rather see Lawrence Fishburne go, from a Cincinnati Bearcat
I
to a
think they're
devious
both
bastard.
I think they're both honestly very acquired taste movies.
Sure. Okay.
Um,
Well,
I think Deep Cover you have to really appreciate in-depth character acting and just like you have to go into that movie knowing that there's very few redeemable qualities for any of the characters.
that is fair. Tucker, this next one I know should probably be a red. I know we're probably not going to be able to keep it. Can we please just yellow it so I can say that I made an effort?
We can yellow it. It's
Okay, it's
not it's not gonna make it, but
1997's Copland, directed and written by James Mangold. It is a
directed and
crime
written.
western.
But this is also a directed and written by Gabriel Joseph Adam.
Absolutely. This movie stars Sylvester Stallone, Harvey Keitel, Robert De Niro, and Ray Liotta. There's this city in New Jersey, and it's like essentially taken over by NYPD cops, and they have like full immunity. Well, IA is like, hey, this is getting a little sticky. They try and get the sheriff of that city, who's like, he was chosen because he's a moron, and he's like handpicked because he's not gonna like incriminate or blow the whistle on any of them. And he's like, no, I don't want to do anything. Then he's like, well, maybe I should, and all this stuff. Listen, there's many reasons why this movie is good. It's filled with great character actors. Ray Liotta is great. John Spencer from West Wing is great. The guy who plays the fucking T-1000 in Terminator 2 is great in this movie. The best part of Copland is Robert De Niro delivering the following line while eating a turkey sandwich and screaming about how they never give napkins. You blew it! I gave you a chance when we had an opportunity to do something, and you blew it. Go to lunch. Go to lunch. And De Niro is just losing his mind. Stallone, this is like the beginning of Fat Stallone, and I'm cool with it. I'm not upset about Fat Stallone. Ray Liotta, this is the only good other movie he made besides Goodfellas. I don't want to hear anyone saying like Operation Dumbo Drop because like he's not really even in Field of Dreams. Tucker, don't get on your cocaine bear nonsense.
I'm gonna go through okay. We're pausing for a
Okay.
second.
Okay.
First of all, Ray Liotta's work in the Grand Theft Auto franchise,
Sure.
incredible.
Not a movie though. Not a movie.
Sure, sure. I'm just saying. Hold on.
Holding. I think you're gonna remember that this man did not have a great career.
Smoking Aces.
No.
Yes,
That movie is bizarre as hell.
you love it.
No, I don't. I do not love it.
Killing Them Softly. He's awesome in that movie.
He's pretty good in that movie. I'll give you that.
Hubie Halloween.
No, no, that movie was literally Adam Sandler being upset he didn't get an Oscar nom. So he said I'm gonna give him the worst movie of all time.
No Sudden Move. Solid.
Okay, that's pretty solid. We're gonna talk about it in a little bit.
Blackbird, the miniseries.
That's not a movie. Yeah, he
Hey,
is great in that though.
he is really good in that.
I don't mean to speak ill of the dead. I'm not trying to insult Ray Liotta.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just
he definitely wasn't what you would have expected after Goodfellas. Oh, he's good in John Q.
sure, yes, I'll give you that. And I mean, he's not the best part of that movie. Everyone knows who the best part of that movie is. But yes, he.
Yeah, Gabe. He's don't just. I thought you liked Smoking Aces. What the hell?
Yeah, I just think Smoking Aces is a trip. It's trippy.
You like Cop Shop? It's the same thing.
It is not the same as Cop Shop.
Yes, it
Don't
is.
get out of here. Cop Shop is a crime masterpiece. Okay,
They're the same movie,
they are.
and Smoking Aces is better.
No, you're wow. Okay, hot take and a wrong take. LA Confidential, Tucker. We can only fit one more on, and there's another movie that you have yellowed. Deep Cover. LA Confidential. Is it better than Deep Cover? This is what we have to
Yeah,
decide now.
yeah, it is.
And I mean, it's really good.
It's really good.
Do you want to
It's
increase it to 10?
Let's increase it to 10 because we got a lot to get through here.
Okay. LA Confidential. Russell Crowe, great. Kevin Spacey, great. Guy Pearce, great. Kim Basinger, great. DeVito, great. It's just a great movie. And then the director was like,
Cromwell.
yeah, and
Great. I will not stand for James Cromwell erasure.
I his Irish accent is so funny to me. And also, whenever I see him, I think of the guy in Babe. Which Tucker, you do you know that James Cromwell was Oscar nominated for Babe? Have I ever
I
told you
did,
this?
I did know that.
That's a weird nomination. That's really strange. Um,
Go for
Shotgun
it.
Ed, that
He also
nickname.
went 3 for 4 on being nominated for guest actor in a drama series for Succession seasons.
Okay, Tucker, this is like to deviate. What's with all this Babe 2 is like a masterpiece talk? I haven't
I'd
like
say
watched Babe 2, but people are like Babe 2 Pig in the City, one of the best movies you'll ever see in your entire life. And I'm like, really? Babe 2? Pig in the City? Okay. Whatever. Okay, LA Confidential, that's a green. Tucker, you've obviously made a typo here. Uh you've made Face Off a red. I think your red green color blindness is acting up. Tucker, John Travolta has his face removed and replaced with Nicolas Cage's face. Then Nicolas Cage wakes up from a coma and has
if
John
we
Travolta's
Gabe,
face put on
Gabe,
his face.
Gabe, if the list was the most 1990s movies ever, this is probably number one.
Tucker, he took his face. off. It's the title of the movie. Travolta,
I guess.
Cage, playing each other. John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage is the greatest thing known to man. John Travolta does the Andy Samberg Nicolas Cage impression, where he's like, all I'm gonna do is start yelling all the time. And you're like, wow, Travolta unlocked Nicolas Cage for anyone else did. Yes, is Face Off red? Sure. In my heart, it's like a spiritual emerald green. It is green as jade. It is green as the rolling hills of Ireland. I've never been to Ireland, but I assume the hills are green. Face Off is a fucking masterpiece. Nicolas Cage has golden guns in the movie, and he like spins them around. Tucker, can you do me a favor, please? Please read the names of the characters in Face Off. Please, 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 I beg of you, because people do not believe they are real when I say they are the greatest names from movie characters
Nicolas
ever.
Cage. Okay, the main characters are Sean Archer,
Yeah, yeah.
Castor Troy.
Yes, it's the greatest shit in the fucking world. Face Off is a masterpiece. Tucker, should I be showing Face Off to my children when they're like 3, obviously to like build them up in the religion as they grow along, or do I
Yeah,
do it earlier so they're just like, when they're 2, they understand the complexity of removing your face, okay, and then putting the other person's face off. Would you be upset with me if I did a Face Off type thing with you?
yeah, I'd be a little upset.
What would you do if you had my face on? Like, what was the first thing you would do? And if you say get plastic surgery, I'll beat the shit out of you. I'm letting you know right now.
I'd probably go to Milwaukee and pretend to be a Milwaukeeite.
Yeah. What would that entail? What would you do?
Well, I'd start drinking immediately.
Okay. Uh
So
huh.
then the people would be like, "Wait, Gabe's drinking now?
They'd
What's
go,
happening?"
oh, the Packers must have lost.
Yeah, the Packers finally broke Gabe. The
Yeah.
Browns finally broke Gabe. What is
Closer than
happening?
you may think.
Yeah,
Well, if I had your face, people would think you got some sort of thyroid problem because the body doesn't change. They'd go, oh my God, Tucker, the face looks great, but where did the titties come from? And you'd go, got some work done, trying to embrace myself. You understand, and that's okay. Some would say that you and I look the exact same. I am you with a thyroid problem, so that is what it is. Yeah, Face Off is incredible. I can't believe you want to read that. The Big Lebowski, yellow. Are we yellowing
yellow,
it?
yellow for now. I think in
Have you
terms
ever
of
drank a White Russian?
nice, nice.
Well, it's like the drink over and over in the movie. I don't drink. I'm asking you, have you ever had
Uh,
a White Russian?
I haven't had a White Russian. No.
Okay. Would you like? Never mind. I'm not gonna finish that joke. Yeah, I'll leave that. I'll leave that there. Big Lebowski is great. It's so quirky, almost too quirky. And there's an argument made it's not a crime movie.
Yeah, I'm a little I almost want to take this one off the list because I think it's one of the better movies of the 1990s
Mhm.
overall. I don't really view it as a crime movie. I view it more as just a comedy.
Sure, this was a 6 a.m. list, as I said. I woke
Okay,
up anxious about the
let's
Green Bay Packers in a trap game.
let's
Okay.
remove it. Let's remove it. It's off.
Well, all I'm saying is Face Off is on the list and The Big Lebowski isn't. So there you go. That's a win for the nation. Ronin, directed by John Frankenheimer.
Another one I don't really view as a crime movie. I view it more as an espionage thriller.
Okay, then cut it. The Negotiator.
Red.
Okay, Sam Jackson, Kevin Spacey in a
They're great.
hostage negotiation.
They're great. The movie is just okay.
What you are shooting down all my dad crime movies, okay? The movies that you have to turn your hat forward and you're like, wow, Jackson's really cooking here. Does Larry like the negotiator?
He does.
That's what I'm saying. Does Tucker like the negotiator?
I do.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we could like keep doing this podcast because after you've like really shut and I know what you're gonna say about the next one, 1998's Enemy of the State. You're gonna go, that's not a crime movie, which is it's fair. It might not be, but there's some crime in it. I don't know. Enemy of the State, Tucker.
It's not really a crime movie.
Okay, you can get rid of it. Would you be surprised to hear it's one of my mom's favorite movies?
I think it's a great movie. It's just not really a crime movie, in my opinion.
So, do you know the part in this movie where it's like a pretty graphic blowjob?
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom either forgot it was in there or didn't care and showed it to me at like 5. And it was the first time I've ever seen my mom freak out about like what is she exposing me to. But Enemy of the State really is one of her favorite movies. Gene Hackman, Will Smith, Jack Black, Seth Green, John Voight. Everyone in this movie is great. It's a good movie, but okay, I can see it's maybe not a crime movie. Out of Sight, George Clooney, J Lo. This is George Clooney when he's just like, yeah, I'm the most charming man in America. Every woman on earth is in love with me. He is a criminal. J Lo is someone sent to bring him in. It might be a green, Tucker. It might be a green.
I haven't seen this one in a really long time.
Okay,
Let's go yellow and see what we
okay.
have. But
Rounders. Rounders might be a green, Tucker.
it's a red. I love
Really?
Rounders. I love Rounders. A, it's not really a crime. Actually, it's not a crime movie. Sorry, it's not. It's a gambling movie.
Okay.
Its own thing. Its own thing. Boondock Saints. It's a cult classic for a reason. You know,
I know. I know.
and it's. I'm gonna say it's a red.
Okay, read it up. I wanted you to be the one to say it because there's people who feel very strongly about Boondock
Very
Saints.
strongly, and I understand why, but it's such a cult movie. I can't in good faith put it on the list.
Okay, lastly, we have David O. Russell's Three Kings with Mark Wahlberg, George Clooney, and Ice Cube. How do you
It's
feel about
it would be red if it were a crime movie, which I feel like I still treat it more like a war movie than a crime movie.
they're stealing gold?
Yeah.
Okay,
Kelly's Heroes isn't a war or isn't a crime movie. It's a war movie. They're stealing gold in that.
okay, okay. Whatever you say, big dog.
All right, so we have Goodfellas one, Deep Cover is green now, right?
Hmm.
Two, True Romance three, Pulp Fiction four, Usual Suspects five, Heat six, Fargo seven, Jackie Brown eight, L.A. Confidential nine.
And we're
I
choosing
honestly
between Basic Instinct, Out of Sight, and Face Off, for which you'd get that final green spot.
that way to sneak Face Off in there.
I didn't speak it in. I'm just speaking
I
my
think
truth.
for the variety of the list, I think and I think Basic Instinct, from what I remember from Out of Sight, I think Basic Instinct is a better movie.
Sure. In Basic Instinct, does Michael Douglas ever wear Sharon Stone's face? That's all I'm saying. Does he ever? Would it be a better movie if he did? Yes, I'm saying yes, it would be.
And thank you for tuning into Serious Cinema for Unserious Men, folks.
Okay, Tucker, just last question.
Yeah.
Should Face Off be in the Criterion Collection? Yes or no? I say yes. 4K
No,
HD.
I mean you don't have to take that up with me. You have to take that up with Criterion.
I've sent multiple. They've blocked me after the Crimson Tide fiasco. Every day for a year, I sent them a drop of my blood and a plea to make Crimson Tide Criterion. We were going to call it Crimterion. I had the whole marketing worked out, and they said, "Sir, we don't know how you got this address. Please stop delivering mail. We've opened a file with the local police department." Which is just, I don't think that's a very kind way to treat your fans. That's all I'm going to say. In all seriousness, Tucker, I think we made a great list. I think they're all representative of good crime movies. Can we say Face Off is the honorary 11th?
No.
Honorary 12th?
Uh no, probably not. I
Okay, well, I'll
don't.
pull out a classic Tucker Senate sentence. It is one of the crime movies of the 1990s.
Yes.
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 You're lucky I didn't put Con Air on here because I was ready to say Con Air, masterpiece. It's more of an action movie. It's more of an action movie. You know I love
I think
Nathan Diamond Dog
Face Off is
Jones.
two. That's the like I think if we made a list of Nicolas Cage 1990s, those
Yeah,
two.
well, you let me tell you what we're doing on the next episode, sir. I don't know what you get ready for the Wednesday episode. It's the Cage episode. That would actually be really fun.
That would be.
Tucker,
I
let's
would
I
take
want to do
I would take Nicolas Cage's cameo in The Flash.
Kill yourself. I want to do two different recommendations here because we are both learned men. One, a streaming recommendation of a movie or TV show, as we always do. Two, and if you don't have one, it's okay, but a book recommendation, something you've been reading that you think the audience would enjoy, that they should crack open and feel the pages and scan with their eyeballs, because that's how you read. And I can go first if you'd like me to go first.
Go ahead.
Okay. Streaming recommendation, Forged in Fire. Rewatching it, it's on Disney Plus.
So
Might
have I
be
told
one
you
of
about have I told you about my TV dilemma with Forged in Fire?
no, what is your TV dilemma?
So I have a Samsung television that um Samsung's the smart TVs have what's called in the industry fast TV, which is like built-in channels that when you connect your TV to the internet, they automatically you get them for free.
Mhm.
And a lot of them are like Hell's Kitchen channel, where it's just 24 hours of Hell's Kitchen. And somehow one day, um, I was accidentally like, I think I sat on my remote and I started changing the fast TV channels because I
Mhm.
wasn't paying attention to what was on. And it ended up on Forged in Fire
Yeah,
network. So
yeah,
now
absolutely.
every single time I turn my TV on, it defaults to the fast TV instead of YouTube
Mhm.
TV, and it's always Forged in Fire Network.
Okay,
So
so let's just back up because you said you had a problem with your
no,
fast
no, no,
channels.
no. I shouldn't have posed it like that. It's not a problem.
You
It's
had a
really
gift from God, a blessing.
a blessing.
Yeah. First off, Tucker, I think I'd be an incredible blacksmith. I just want to share that with you.
I could
Um,
see you being very successful on that show,
I really think I could be. That show rocks so hard. Will Willis,
especially if
Doug Marcaida.
if you keep rocking the ponytail. I
Yeah.
feel
Is this
you're
a good look? I don't. What are we thinking about this, Tucker? Is
like,
this?
did you just build a smith or a forge in the garage?
I did make chili dogs for dinner, so roughly the same amount of success, honestly. Um, you're laughing at chili dogs. It's a delicious dinner.
No, no, no. I agree.
I chefed up some canned chili, grilled up some onions, grilled up some $2 hot dogs. Tucker, that's Midwest luxury, baby. That's
That
white
is,
trash gold.
that is.
But for my book
I
recommendation,
I didn't know how you got there from forge to chili dogs, but I see the vision now.
well, cooking is kind of like foraging, you know?
Yeah,
I
sure.
am chopping an onion. I am, opening up a can of chili, just like one would open up their heart to create a weapon. My book recommendation is Heat 2, because it rocks. It rocks so hard. Get it at your local library. And guys, support your local libraries, whether it be there's many streaming services where you can actually access movies just with the library card, read some books, check out some music, stream movies, get DVDs. Physical media are great. Just support your libraries because they are an absolute benefit to the public. Your turn, Tucker. Talk about how great libraries are.
Libraries are great.
Sorry, folks.
Whoa.
This is highly
Whoa.
unusual.
Sorry.
This is highly unusual. That was the guest we were having up here on the show.
That was
Tucker had them
Netflix.
join a little bit too early.
That was Netflix when I was looking for a streaming rec. I'm gonna do a video game recommendation, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
I I I caved and purchased Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
I have not seen my brother in like 9 days because of it. So
Um, the campaign, really, really fucking good, in my
okay,
opinion. The zombies, much better than expected. And the multiplayer, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. So, it's not if you for the I've now reached a point in my video games career where I'm what the kids would call an unk.
mhm, yes, yes, you would.
Um, so for guys like me that yearn for the old days, it's been a pleasurable experience so far.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And did you have something to watch with that or just a video game?
it was that, and then I am currently I have decided that my new falling asleep show
Okay.
And usually what I do is like when I'm compelled by the episode, I'll go back and watch after when I fall asleep. I'm doing Mad Men again,
Yeah,
right?
as you should.
It's
Anytime you do my AMC Plus, buddy, you just got to ask. I'm one of the 9
we
people who have it. So
I believe me, I you might be number 9. Larry Sennett is number 10.
absolutely. And he's my
That
brother in
man,
arms.
that man needed to watch his Gangs of London
Yes.
somehow.
Yes, absolutely. And then your mom can get on a discovery of witches. I mean, like, this can be a family affair. You and I can watch Days of Thunder and hold hands in the living room. It'll be a
Yeah.
fabulous time. Carrie Elwes, Tom Cruise. It's a great time. Robert Duvall.
It's a hilarious library of film and television.
It's old man slop is what it is. If Disney
Yeah.
Plus is child slop with like Spidey and his amazing friends and like some stupid shit, AMC Plus is for the guys who've like been through a couple of divorces, have a low credit score, and they have like $20 to their name and are gonna spend it all on a 12 pack of Miller High Life, which isn't me, but is me spiritually. Anyways, Tucker, thank you for doing this episode with me. Always a pleasure. Audience, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time on another episode of Serious Cinema for Unserious.